Hello, hello, and welcome to my first and possibly last Marvel Snap video on the channel. This isn't a gameplay, even though you're seeing gameplay right now. No. If you looked at the thumbnail or the title, you would know that I like Pokemon, and I also like Marvel Snap recently. So what should I do? Create Marvel Snap Pokemon cards. No, Pokemon Marvel Snap cards, that's right. Yeah, and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet just came out, so I thought a nice limited roster to choose from the Paradox forms. So I made a Marvel Snap card for each of the Paradox forms, all the past, all the futures, and I'm here to show them to you. I think my dogs are barking. I think they're balanced. I don't know if they are or not, but you'll be the judge of that. Leave in the comments below. I don't know, what's your favorite? What critiques you have. I don't know anything. In the description I have the person who inspired me to make this video, even though I'm pretty sure there's been a bunch of these custom Marvel Snap cards on the internet before them, and also the website I used to generate the card designs. I mean, I made the art and I made the stats, but this put it all together into a card. So yeah, let's start this off with Mr. Great Tusk the first here. He is a 4-cost 6 power, like, I don't know, the Thing. I think that's like the basic 4-cost power. And on reveal, all cards played here next turn are moved to a random location. So this card is obviously good for, I guess, move decks, but it's also here to throw off your opponent. It has a bit of a Spider-Man effect where, like, they can't play cards there next turn. I mean, if you're using something like Vulture and then you play it there, and then you play Great Tusk on turn 4, and then you play Vulture on turn 5 into a lucky, what's the guy? The guy who gains 2 power if a card moves there. Something like that. He could be useful. And this, ability is based on Great Tusk being, a ground type that knocks things away, shakes up the ground, pushes you away with his great tusks, if you will. Yeah, I just thought it was fitting to have this ability. Next is his future counterpart, Iron Treads, also 4-cost 6 power, and also move-based. You can move this twice, is his ability. So it's like Nightcrawler, but again, you can move it twice instead of just once, and that's based on his ability to roll. This, once again, would be good for, like, move decks, for something like the guy who gains 2 power when something moves here, as well as throwing off your opponent, Just, this is like the Thing, but it can move twice. I feel like that's kinda good. Next is Mr. Slitherwing, 1-cost 2 power. Ongoing cards that cost 1, 2, or 3 can't be played here. I don't know if this is useful or not, but it's interesting. I mean, 1-cost 2 power, so you can play this on turn 1. It's on par with other 1-cost cards, but the ability is kind of weird. It's good for throwing off your opponent because, you'll be ready for it with your deck. You won't have many 1, 2, or 3-cost cards, I guess, but your opponent will, and they won't be expecting the Slitherwing play. And the Slitherwing looks kind of defensive. Look at him. He doesn't look like he could do much damage, but he does look like he would be, defensively helpful on the field. So putting him there, giving him that effect, I thought fit Slitherwing very well. And now we're on to Slitherwing's future variant, Iron Moth. I'm pretty sure I would rather this one be 1-cost 1 power, but I'll leave it as 2 for now. I don't want to go in and change the design. Each turn this card is in your hand, gain 1 power. So it's kind of like Sunspot. That's why I think it should be 1-cost 1 power. And it seems kind of good, but it's also kind of bad if you think about it. Like, if you draw this on turn 1, then you could have a 7-power 1-cost card on turn 6. But if you draw it on, like, turn 4, then you're going to have, like a 3-cost 1-cost card, which is probably not going to be played. It's not very worth it. But, yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. Maybe 1-cost 0 power even, but I don't know. This is based on the fact that its wings are like solar panels, so it's kind of soaking up the energy while it's in your hand, gaining more power as it's sitting there. So yeah, I think that would be a very cool card to have in the game. Next is Fluttermane, Back to the Past variant, so we're going to be alternating between the past and the future ones. This is a 5-cost 10 power, and on reveal, destroy your other cards at this location. So this is just a powerful Deathlock. It's like Deathlock, but 5 cost instead of 2 cost. No, is it 2 or 3 cost? I don't remember. I think it's 2 cost, and 10 power instead of 5 power. And so it's just like, it's a big thing. And yeah, so it does more power than you would expect for a 5-cost card, and it destroys your other cards at this location, which is usually bad, could be bad, but it's good for destroy decks, of course. Good for things like Bucky Barnes and Sabretooth, Deadpool, what's the other one? Wolverine, that's the one. He could be good with that. Yeah, alright. Next. Oh, and this is just based on her looking murderous. Look at those eyes and those spikes. It definitely would have... My dogs are going crazy. Definitely have a destroy ability and be a pretty powerful card. Next is Iron Jugulus, 5 cost, 10 power again. This can only be played if there are already 3 friendly cards at this location. So this will have to be the last card that you play there, which sounds like it wouldn't be very good because that spot could be filled by a more powerful card like a Hulk or an Infinite or something. But it's good for moving cards. Like if I played this at Iron Tread, at a place with Iron Treads, I could play Iron Jugulus there, and then on turn 6 I could move Iron Treads and play a new card there, so that the opponent wouldn't be expecting. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth the 3 friendly card at this location. I don't think it's too bad of a card, and obviously the 3 friendly cards is based on the 3 friendly heads that it's got. That's why that idea fits the Iron Jugulus. Next is Screamtail. Screamtail has 2 cost 1 power, and on reveal, destroy all enemy 1 cost cards at this location. So it's like a mix between Killmonger and Elektra. You play it there, and it doesn't destroy a random enemy 1 cost card there, it destroys all enemy 1 cost cards there, but it doesn't destroy enemy 1 cost cards outside of that location, or your friendly 1 cost cards, like Killmonger does. So, I don't know, it might need a buff, it might need to be 2 cost 2 power or something, but I feel like it would be really good for a situation where they have and multiple 1 cost cards there, possibly a Sunspot, and then you throw Screamtail in, and you could destroy all of their 1 cost, their Sunspot, without destroying your cards. So, yeah, I thought that would be good. Fitting for Screamtail. I feel like she would just whip her hair in there, cause mass mayhem, but also not be very powerful, because she doesn't look very powerful. So 1 power, kind of fitting. Next, Iron Bondle. I think this is my favorite one of these. On reveal, add a 5 power turret to each location, but it has minus 2 power and is cost 2. So it's pretty cool. It's basically an 8 power card, but you have to have a negative 2 at one location, and then you get another 5 at the other 2. And those 5 power turrets are shown here. 2 cost 5 power, and it just has a quote like all of the other no ability cards. Yeah, so I think this would be very, useful, especially in good for Zoo decks and Patriot decks, of course, because the turret is no ability card, as are all of the, summon in ability cards that they summon in. You know what I'm talking about. The Squirrels and Squirrel and the Doombots and the Ultron bots or whatever. Yeah, so it's basically, it's like Doctor Doom, but cheap and negative power. So yeah, next is Brute Bonnet, 2 cost 3 power, average 2 cost power there. On reveal, discard all 2 cost cards from your hand. So this sounds like it would be bad, because if you're not running a discard deck, then this card is not helpful. It is actually unhelpful. You can get rid of multiple cards from your hand that you actually wanted to use later on, but it's good for discard decks, of course, because things like Morbius gain power every time you discard something. Hela could even be good. You could play that on turn 6 and bring in a bunch of 2 cost cards that you discarded, and things like that. So I think Brute Bonnet would be possibly overpowered, maybe just about right. Next, we have Iron Hands, 3 cost 1 power. It's like Electro, except it doesn't do a positive for you, but it also doesn't do a negative for you. The negative is instead for your enemy. Ongoing, your opponent can only play 1 card a turn. So it's like a mix between Electro and Sandman, because Sandman only usually affects both players, and this one only affects the opponent, so it is better than Sandman, but it is cheaper, and I think that that's fine, because I don't think Sandman should be in the game. I think Sandman is stupid. I don't think it should be 4 cost 1 power for that ability. I don't think that's very good. I think this is a more balanced Sandman. That's what I'm going to say. I think this is a better Sandman, because it's only 3 cost, and it only affects your opponent. But anyway, yeah, that's Iron Hands, and it's kind of like Electro, because it's like, electric. You can use the same animation as when Electro stops you from playing more than 1 card, the little electricity in your hand. Yeah, so I think that fits Mr. Iron Hands. Next is Sandy Shocks, 3 cost 3 power. On reveal, all cards must be played at this location next turn. So you might be thinking, this is Magnet. Of course, Magnet is going to pull other cards that were played this turn to that location or something. No, this is a unique Magnet. Instead, it sets up its magnetism, I guess, somehow, and then the next turn, all cards have to be played there. They're not played at other locations and then moved there. They just have to be played there. Its magnetism is too strong for that. So I think that would be a cool ability, kind of force your opponent's hand, but also force your hand. So it could be to your advantage, like you're already planning to play something there next turn. So just kind of throw off your opponent, force them to also play a card their next turn. Kind of like Arrow, I think. There was a card that moves any cards that your opponent played this turn to this location. And that's basically what this is. But they have to do it, and it's the turn after. Next is Iron Thorns. This one's a little too overpowered, I realized. 5 cost 4 power. On reveal, destroy a random enemy card at this location. It seems like it could be balanced. You know, you just play it, and then it could destroy something good, could destroy something bad. But it's a 5 cost 4 power. But then I thought about Odin and Wong and other ways to make your on reveal abilities happen more than once. And if you play this at like a Wong, then you can't lose that location because you just destroyed everything that they have there, basically. It's fine, we're gonna pretend like it's perfectly balanced, and this is obviously Iron Thorns. Looks like destructive. Look at him. Look at that man. He would destroy things. Next is Roaring Moon. This is a very unique one. 7 cost 20 power. You always draw this on turn 7, not before. So you can only get and use this card if you have, what's the Sword Lady? If Limbo is active, because that's the only way to access turn 7 at the moment. And so Roaring Moon will appear on your hand only on turn 7, and then he can only be played with 7 power. So you can't use something like Electro or anything else to boost your energy and then play this card on turn 6. It has to be played on turn 7 because it can't enter your hand in any way other than turn 7. So I think that's pretty unique because it's kind of like, it's obviously really good, but you can only use it if Limbo is active, and you have to play it on turn 7, not before. And this is, you know, look at Roaring Moon. He swoops in at the last second and he's like, I'm here, what do you need? Yeah, I'm powerful. Next, the final one, Iron Valiant. 6 cost 10 power. On reveal, destroy a random enemy 6 cost card at this location. So it's this one's kind of tricky. I think this is a more balanced version of Mr. Iron Thorns over here, because it only destroys 6 cost cards, which makes it sound more powerful. But once again, this is a 6 cost card itself, so it has to be played on turn 6, or I mean, there's other ways to get around that, but usually played on turn 6. So you don't really know if the opponent is gonna play a 6 cost card, so you have to play it at a location where they already have a 6 cost card, or they have to flip first, and you have to predict whether they're going to play a 6 cost card. Then you could destroy that on the last turn. But it's kind of tricky, but I feel like Iron Valiant would still be very, very good. So yeah, that's everything I have for you. If you would like to see more Marvel Snap Pokemon cards, no, Pokemon Marvel Snap cards, I said it again, comment down below. Also, if you like Pokemon, subscribe, because I make Pokemon content. That's what I do here, not Marvel Snap content. If you like Marvel Snap content, pray that I make another one of these videos, because that's all it's gonna be. I'm not doing Marvel Snap content. Go away. So yeah, I'll see you all in a live stream. I think the next thing I'm gonna do on this channel is actually a live stream. So if you want to tune in to watch me complete the Paldean Pokedex and achieve the Shiny Charm, hop on into my stream. Yeah, see you then.